DG, thank you very much for your time. First and foremost, what is going to happen during the closure in the 4 weeks? Is there going to be online learning for children?
Good morning, Xoli, and good morning to the viewers. Well, first, let me say the reaction to the announcement by the President yesterday reflects the nature of the complexity of the issues that we are dealing with. And as I always say, you do, you damned, you don't, you still damned. What's going to be happening is that there will definitely be online virtual learning support, broadcast solution, regional broadcasts, provincial education departments will be delivering programs through those platforms. The Department of Basic Education has got also programs that would be delivered during this time, as we did during the lockdown, and were able to assess even the benefit and the impact of such programs. So we'll still be continuing with that.
Are parents aware, Director General, that there is going to be learning through broadcast stations, whether it be televisions, I assume you're talking about, and radio?
As I indicated, these are platforms that we used during the lockdown. So what we're going to be doing, because the President only announced last night, so our communication is going out. The Minister is meeting with all the district directors today, among others, to communicate this message that we're going on a break, but learning continues at home, and the platforms that we've been using will continue to use them. And that's the commitment we made to the National Coronavirus Command Council, including to Cabinet.
How do you respond to the Human Rights Commission, who are saying that this decision is not only regrettable but unjustifiable because of the risks that come with children who are going to be confined to their homes, particularly those who come from poorer households? I mean, there are issues around acute malnutrition that they're saying the risks are going to now increase even more. There's also issues around children being abused as a result of, depression. The social environment is quite toxic if you talk about poorer households.
Well, Xoli, again, it reflects the diverse nature of the role players and stakeholders that we are working with. As the President said yesterday, it's extremely difficult to please everyone. But if you look at what the President announced yesterday, there's a bit for everyone there. In terms of malnutrition, the President was very clear in saying that the National School Nutrition Program must be provided during this break. So from basic education, we'll definitely be taking care of that.
Let me come in there on that point, DG, and I'm sorry to cut in. So this program is going to continue, and you have no choice in it because even a court has instructed so. So how are you going to conduct it? Parents are going to come to school with their children, or they're going to, bring the children to come and fetch the food and walk away? How are you going to manage that situation? Because immediately, in my mind, I'm reminded of the social grant queues that simply do not have social distancing in existence when people are falling in a line for whatever service they need.
Well, fortunately, even before we went to court, we made an undertaking to Equal Education that we're going to provide feeding to learners who are still at home. And we developed a plan with 3 modalities. One was children or learners who are at school, and the second modality was providing feeding to children who are still at home, but who are within the vicinity of each and every school that is feeding. And the third modality was to deliver food parcels to learners who cannot make it to school. And we are going to continue with that plan, which is predicated on the 3 modalities. Our view is that we've planned for that. We've started using the 3 modalities. We're simply going to continue.
DG, then there is the issue about why private schools were almost left untouched, if you like. I'm trying to understand what the rationale was in closing down public schools, but saying basically nothing about private schools.
Well, let's make a distinction. Maybe we'll understand. When the president announced the lockdown, the announcement was based on the fact that all sectors were going to close. The president yesterday announced a break and not an announcement similar to the lockdown. And the rationale is very simple. The academic year of independent or private schools is managed differently. Independent schools have just been on a break, I think, of about 2 weeks, and they have come back. And public schools have now been offered a break. It's not like the same closure that was announced during lockdown. And the academic year of independent schools is managed differently from that of public schools. This is just a break.
So how do you respond to parents who say there are the former Model C schools who possibly have parents who have the means? Are those schools being told to close and go to this 4-week break, even though they have the capacity to deliver just as private schools can?
I don't know where the comparison is coming in, because if we're talking academic year, it's public versus private schools. It's not based on the modality to deliver whether schools are closed or not. And the variables that are considered are quite varied. Among others, public schools are many, independent schools are very few. And where community infections are increasing, they affect in the main public schools, and how you respond to the two, you respond differently. With independent schools, they would essentially have the means to deal with increasing or raging infections. With public schools, the onus is on the state to ensure that the environment is safe for learners, and it's on the basis of that the decision it's dichotomous, if you like. Independent schools are very few, and they'll be able to manage the risk that is emerging. Public schools are just too many, and government has got to have its ducks in a row to make sure that there are no risks that are associated with the safety of learners.
Very briefly then, DG, the alignment of the 2020 academic year. The president has already indicated that it's going to go beyond December. How do you align the school calendar year with private schools that are, in all probability, going to complete their schooling year in 2020, whilst you have public school children who still need to catch up?
Well, Xoli, we are in an ongoing engagement and discussions with independent schools, private schools, and all other role players. It's unlikely that they'll wrap up the academic year in 2020. We're all going to have a spillover to 2021. The quality assuring body is one. So our exams are going to run more or less the same, and they are going to be rounded off more or less the same time. So the spillover is going to affect both. We're all going to spill over to 2021.
All right, DG, I'm completely out of time, but let me squeeze this question in. Please promise to answer it briefly as you possibly can. The vaccination of children, DG, that's the other issue that Human Rights Commission has raised, that children are likely to suffer illnesses that kill people annually that could have been prevented. So how is this going to be done?
It cannot be true. What happens when schools are closed? June is our longest holiday, which is a month or more. When schools are closed, parents and children use health facilities that are available. I don't I don't agree with that because of this small, then there will be untold harm to the health of children. We do go on very long breaks, either in December or June, and learners would use health facilities during that time.
DG, thank you very much for your time.